Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. I am Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. So, Michelle Obama, wife of former President Barack Obama, stated in an interview that she is terrified of what could possibly happen in the 2024 election. What she's terrified about? Let's find out as we get into this article right now. She stated she's terrified. Now, already, some of you probably are already kind of figuring out what that might be. But let's find out. Former First Lady Michelle Obama said in a recent interview that her fears about the 2024 presidential election, keep her up at night. I am terrified about what could possibly happen, Obama said of the 2024 race in a Monday episode of Jay Shetty's On Purpose podcast. I've never heard of this person. Okay, but you can actually see it, the podcast on YouTube. Because our leaders matter. These are her words. Our leaders matter. Who we select, who speaks for us, who holds that bully pulpit. I already read what she's saying here. A lot of this stuff is leftist nonsense, but I'm going to read on. It affects us in ways that sometimes I think people take for granted, she said when asked to name some of her fears that keep her awake. The fact that people think that government, does it really even do anything? And I'm like, oh my God, does government do everything for us? Obama 59 continued. 59 is her age, obviously. And we cannot take this democracy for granted. And sometimes I worry that we do. Let's analyze this. The fact that people think that government doesn't really even do anything, who is she talking about here? The fact that people think that government doesn't really do anything, supposedly a question that people are asking, does the government really do anything? And her answer, she says, and apparently her answer to their question is, and I'm like, oh my God, does government do everything for us? That sounds like totalitarianism to me. That sounds like government control to me. It's a play on words she's using here. She's using a play on words. The people, that's us, basically are asking the question, according to the way she sees it, government, does it really do anything? In other words, the people like us dumbed down regular people, we have no idea. Does the government really do anything for us? And her answer is because she's a part of the elite. Oh my God. In other words, oh my God, you dummies, you don't know that? You don't know that the government does everything for us? Do they? My question is this: does the government do everything for us? The problem, and this is my words, the problem with the government is they're too busy getting in our backyard. The problem with the government is they need to leave people alone and just do what the government is supposed to do and stop trying to control people's lives. What it seems like to me that she's suggesting is that she wants bigger government, bigger control. This is how these liberals are. Liberals believe, or liberal politicians rather, and Democratic politicians of today in particular, believe in big government. They believe, particularly progressive Democrats, let me reiterate that, believe that government should control just about every aspect of your life. They see government as God. And what Michelle Obama is saying here in a roundabout kind of way is, you dumb Americans, you have no idea what the government does for you. The government, my God, the government does everything for you. You big dummies. That's what she's saying the way I read it. Because she says, oh my God. That prefix, oh my God, is saying, you so dumb, you don't know that the government does everything for you? Let's go on. Those are the things that keep me up, she said. Unbelievable. The former First Lady listed other concerns, including wars, quote, in too many regions. Yeah, okay. I can get that. Artificial intelligence, education, people being, quote, too stuck to their cell phones, and voter engagement. Okay, like I said, I didn't listen to the interview. This is just something that the writer of this article was saying there. These are things that were mentioned in the interview. Too many regions, wars in too many regions, But I mean, your group is a part of that, artificial intelligence. Yeah, you may worry about artificial intelligence when it's getting away from the people. You want to use it. I believe that her group, if you will, the progressives, want to use artificial intelligence for different reasons, but I'm not going to get into that here. Education, yeah, education, because the education system is dumbing down our young people. Is that what you're talking about? I don't know. People being too stuck to their cell phones and voter engagement. Yeah, I'm concerned about that too. I'm concerned about people being stuck to their cell phones and voter engagement. But what does she mean by people being too stuck to their cell phones? Could she be implying in a roundabout way that in your cell phones, you can find out information that the government and the mainstream media is not telling you? Is she saying in a roundabout way, like these progressive these great oratorical people, or these great progressive Democrats with their great speaking skills, is she suggesting that maybe we need to do something about the internet? Maybe we need to get some control over these cell phones so that these people who are too stuck to these cell phones will not be getting information that contradicts the agenda that we're trying to push. In my opinion, that's what she's saying in a roundabout way. She's not concerned about people being too stuck to their cell phones where they're not communicating with each other and they're becoming cynical and apathetic to being kind. No, I don't think that's what she's talking about. She's talking about people being too stuck to their cell phones because you can get information about a lot of different things without the government force feeding you a bunch of left liberal wokey woke nonsense. And the school system's doing the same thing. Basically, what she's suggesting, in my opinion, we need to get more control over technology. Let's go on. So we can control the narrative. She goes on, if anything, okay, so anyway, the interviewer asks, he says, if anything, what does still offend you? Shetty asked. Injustice, ego, greed, Obama replied. Classic progressive Democrats. Injustice, ego, greed. Here's another. She says, racism, ignorance is offensive. And I've always been that kid. I don't like unfairness. I don't like bullies. But I have to think about how I deliver messages. True, nobody should like offenses. Nobody should like racism or ignorance. But is that the issue today? Is racism the issue today in 2023 America? And if so, who's the one initiating it? I'll argue it's the far left initiating racism because they're treating people who aren't black the same way blacks were treated in pre-60s America. Discriminating against them, talking about we want to be fair towards blacks and people of color, but you discriminating against white people. So that's racism or reverse racism. Two wrongs don't make a right. So this whole idea where Michelle responds, racism, ignorance is offensive. Those are the things that bother me too. Yeah, it's offensive, but who in 2023 America is actually being racist? And who are actually ignorant? I'm not going to get into the details of that, but you think about that for a moment, But she said, but I have to think about how I deliver messages. Okay, anyway, let's go on. Obama's interview dropped amid reported concerns from her husband, former President Barack Obama, about the possibility of former President Donald Trump returning to the White House. It's all about that. It always gets around that, right? They are so scared. They're so scared for Trump to get back in office. Oh my God. If he gets back in office, he's going to stop our agenda. He's going to destroy our plan. Let's go on. Barack Obama has increasingly questioned President Joe Biden's prospects for November's election and, quote, feels that Democrats very well could lose, end quote. Absolutely. According to an anonymous insider cited by the Wall Street Journal in December, Trump is expected to cruise into the general election after easily securing the Republican primary nomination, recent poll numbers suggest. In the Shetty interview. I hope I'm pronouncing this person's name right. Shetty. Michelle Obama appeared to call out the GOP frontrunner without directly naming him. Now, so let's listen to what she says here, because as I read the transcript of what she supposedly said in this interview, of course, what came to my mind was Donald Trump, but you figure for yourself, okay? The tone and tenor of the message matters. We can't just say the first thing that comes to our mind, she told the British Indian life coach. And you know what? She's right. She's right. She's right about that. Yeah. I mean, Trump, he's off kilter oftentimes. Sometimes he'll say things that aggravate me. I'll be like, man, come on, man. You have to develop you have to watch what you say sometimes, because some people are just super sensitive. You have to watch what you say, and how you say it. He's not a polished public speaker. He's not. And I admit that sometimes he aggravates me too. So I can agree with her, which is we just can't say the first thing that comes to our mind, she told the British Indian life coach. I agree with that, but let's go on. This is not authenticity to me. That's childish, and we see childish leadership right before us. But let me say this before I read the rest of what she supposedly said. That is authenticity the way I see it, because Trump is being Trump. From what I understand, Trump, the way he is now, the way he speaks, he's always been that way. He's always been forthright, in your face. If he didn't like you, he told you he didn't like you. If he liked you, he told you he liked you or showed you. He was always that way. And I have seen videos and clips of him acting and talking just like he acts and talks now. If he felt he was BSing him, he would call you out for it. So her statement that this is not authenticity to me, I have to disagree with that. It is authenticity, okay? Trump is being authentic. It's the elites that are not being authentic. They're the ones phony the way I see it, because they put on this facade and they act like they care for American citizens. They act like they care for you, but in reality, they don't. Trump is real. He's authentic. And maybe his public speaking is not the greatest. Maybe he does bully sometimes, but I would rather have someone whose public speaking is not the greatest among all the elites, who have policies that are actually going to help me, than to have the most polished public speaker, the greatest, most educated Harvard degree graduated person in office who can speak well and use terminology well. But when he puts forth or she puts forth policies, these policies screw up my freaking life. The American public is starting to wake up to this nonsense coming from these elites. Let's go on. She goes on to say, that's childish, and we see childish leadership right before us. What that looks like and how that feels, where somebody is just base and vulgar and cynical in a leadership position, Obama continued. It doesn't trickle down well. That just begets more of that. End of what she said. Okay, she says, it doesn't trickle down well. That just begets more of that. But what that begets is authenticity. What that begets, it's not good. Being vulgar and cynical, according to her words, is not necessarily good. And I don't see Trump being cynical. It's these progressive Democrats and the far left radical liberals that are cynical, because everything about America they hate. You're always walking around frowning, mad, angry, out in the streets protesting, blocking traffic. Okay, all of this other foolishness. Who's the real cynical one? True, Trump may be vulgar in some ways in the way he speaks, but cynical, no. I have to disagree with that. That's the end of that article right there. But I'm just saying, I have to disagree with that statement that she said there. I don't think he's cynical at all. I think the far left is cynical. I think these Democrats that are in office right now are the cynical ones, because it seems like nothing in America that's traditional they love. They put down family traditions, the true family traditions, fathers and mothers, husbands and wives. They put that down. They destroy that and incorporate all of this far left nonsense. They push all of these extreme views on our young people in the schools. It is the Democratic politicians that's pushing that, and it's the Republicans, who are part of the same elite group, that are being quiet about it. You may have a few that might say something, but for the most part, they're quiet about it. When she gives us hollering this nonsense that it begets more of that, the only thing that's going to beget is authenticity. The way I see it, people being real, politicians being real and saying, hey, I care for the American people. I care for you. I care for you, and you. Okay, that's what that entails. What she's saying is the same rhetoric that Democrats in this country in 2023 America have been spitting for I don't know how long. I read between the lines, man. You can give all the polished speeches all day, but I can read between the lines. I know exactly what she's implying. You have a fear this keeps you up at night? This keeps her up basically at night? I mean, are you serious? I'll tell you what keeps her up at night. I'll tell you what keeps Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, and the rest of the elite politicians up at night. What keeps them up at night is the fact that the possibility of Trump getting in office just for 4 years, because this is all he's going to probably be able to do is 4 years if he gets in, is his worldview, his policies, and his agenda is clashing with theirs. The progressives and the elite want a one world government. They are all a part of the same groups and secret societies. Trump is not. He's a threat to their globalist agenda. Like I said earlier, when Michelle was talking about she fears artificial intelligence and people being stuck on their cell phones, what I believe she meant by that was we, the politicians, the elites, don't have enough control over artificial intelligence and the cell phones and technology. We don't have enough control over it. And because we don't have enough control over this, these individuals who are stuck to their cell phones, and I'm going to repeat that, can get information from areas that will illuminate their understanding. Cause them to think, cause them to use their brain and say, wait a minute, hold it. Some of these people are saying up here, it's not right. I don't want to be a part of that. They don't want that. What she's afraid about, what keeps her up at night, and what keeps the rest of the elite up at night is that when Trump gets in office, he's going to combat all of that. And they can't have that. The elites can't have that. They can't have someone in office coming against their global agenda. Their one world government, one world economic system, one world religion. That's what they want, and Trump is a direct threat to that. That's what keeps her up at night. She sounds good, but I don't care how good you sound. I don't care how well a person is liked. I look beyond all of that. I look beyond how liked that person is. I look beyond how eloquent they speak and how they're able to put the words together. Like Thomas Sowell says, all that is a lot of rhetoric. You got to read past all the rhetoric and know what is rhetoric and what is real. And a lot of these elite politicians are good at rhetoric. They're good at using words that make you feel a certain way. But when you really dig deeper and you look at the history, it's a bunch of BS. Yeah, I said it. So she don't impress me. What keeps her up at night is the fact that Trump agenda is clashing with their globalist agenda. And that's my words on it. So what do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.